Hello, my name is Robert Dean Steele, and this is your daily Bible class. We've been looking at the book of Titus. We are now down to the last paragraph, the last few verses of this particular book. I have so enjoyed spending time with you on this book. He says, as soon as I send Artemis or Tychicus to you, do your best to come with me to Nicopolis, because I've decided to winter there. He says, listen, I'm going to be sending two guys to you, Artemis and Tychicus, or Tychicus, I can't even say it, Tychicus. And he says to you, and do your best to come to me as soon as you can. He says, I've decided to winter in this particular place called Nicopolis. He says, do everything you can to help Zenas the lawyer and Apollos on their way and see that they have everything that they need. Now, he's just giving the final remarks to Titus. He says, Titus, this is what I want you to do. He says, our people, and this is what he's talking about, our people must learn to devote themselves to doing what is good. He says, your responsibility is to help these individuals, but also remind the people that they must devote themselves. They must make it their aim, their goal, their destiny, their desire to do that which is good. Now, we are very fortunate in this day and age to have the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation to show us the plans and purposes of God. We've got the wonderful example of Jesus Christ in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John to show us. But in those days, they didn't have that. And so it was the apostles and the leaders of those days that had to show them by example. Now, folks, that is still the same today. It's the leaders of the church that show by example and by teaching what is right and holy. He says, in order to provide the urgent needs and not to live unproductive lives. You see, we're called to minister one to another. You know, James basically says this, if we know what to do is good and we don't do it, it is sin. We are called to help those who need that help. When we come across a need and we're able to meet that need, we should meet that need and do it with cheerfulness, with dignity, and with love. He says, because if we don't, we live unproductive lives. Folks, I want to live a productive life. You know what Paul says in 1 Corinthians 13, 1 and 2? He says, if we don't love the way that God wants us to love, we'll first of all produce nothing of real value. Can you imagine going through your entire life and producing nothing of real value? Secondly, we'll receive nothing of real value. And thirdly, we will be of no real value. Can you imagine going through your life? You've been living for yourself. You've been living for what you can get out of life. And then you stand before the Lord and He says, you had such a wonderful opportunity and you didn't do it. He says, everyone with me, Titus, sends you their greetings. He says, there's a whole bunch of us who want to see you succeed. Do you want to see those around you succeed? Do you want to see your brothers and sisters succeed? We should want that. That should be our desire. He says, greet those who love us in the faith. He says, those individuals who are living in Crete with you, those men and women, those brothers and sisters, greet them and let them also greet one another. You see, it's a wonderful thing to be part of the family of God. There's that old song that says, I'm so glad I'm a part of the family of God. Joint heirs with Jesus, washed in His blood. Folks, we're called to a great and marvelous family. It's called the family of God, the chosen of God, the children of the light. Many, many different names and things and callings. But the marvelous thing is, when we greet each other, let's remember, these are our brothers and sisters in the Lord. Well, that's the book of Titus. My name is Robert Dean Steele. This is your daily Bible class. You have yourself a great and godly day.